application programming interface testing, and it's a set of routines, protocols, tools, and that we have where actually the business functionality is implemented. So we test that business functionality without UI. So we have presentation layer, business layer, and database. Presentation layer is the UI, graphical user interface, which is we do not use in the API testing because API testings are core business functionalities we are testing. So our testing will be in this business layer to database layer. We also have discussed about Postman tool installation. So why we need a tool? Because we do not have UI in first place. We are not testing APIs with the UIs. If I test from a UI, it will be a UI testing, not the API testing. So what important thing here is we are testing directly APIs with the request and response. So we call and get the response. We use Postman tool for it. Let us open the Postman tool that we have seen. And with that, we will try to understand what actually the API testing is and how it will help. Okay. So before we move to most of the things, let us launch a Postman. Okay. Everyone has installations for Postman? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
In Postman, we have workspace. We'll click on a my workspace. In this workspace, we have different set of projects. These projects are, okay, what are these projects are? We have request and response. What is collection? Set of API requests we have in a collection. So you can say it's a project where we have multiple requests. Okay. Inside a workspace, we have multiple collections where in each collection we have multiple requests. What different request we have? Get request, post request. So if we see get request, what get will do? What is the purpose of get? Can we have some answers?
It will
Get
read.
request.
Yes, read the data what we created. So now I created, how I'll be confirming that okay the user is created. We will get that user. So we will hit the send button so that user 3 is created. This is the ID. Now if I send this ID, we will get the response. Okay. So if we are passing this ID, so generally what we pass now for a 6 user, if I'm passing, I get a response of that user with user details. Like I'm reading the data. From a UI, think in terms of UI scenarios. Like if I'm testing on Amazon, first we will create an order, then we will go and check that order is created or not. Whatever we create, we check that whatever items I ordered, those are there or not. The price calculated is correct or not, right? In the testing, we create anything we are going to create, we will verify that the created we will say object or we created user created order will be having details what we gave. Okay, it should have all the details what we gave. So that is about a read. So we create and we confirm with this read. Now what is the method for update? We have
Put.
API CRUD operation. Yes. Put is for yes, update. So API testing involves directly testing the APIs with these methods: put, post, get, and delete. These are called CRUD operations. So API testing focuses on business logic layer of the software architecture. API testing can be performed on any system, like any application will be developed which contains APIs. Like if your application contains APIs, we can perform API testing. Okay, and API testing won't concentrate on look and feel. Obviously, there is no GUI, so it will not concentrate on the look and feel of the application. It will only concentrate on the core functionalities, core business logic. Okay, so what is API testing types? What all testing types that we can do in this API testing? So we can perform unit testing in API testing, we can test functional testing, load testing, and we can detect the errors what different errors we are getting, runtime errors or any other. We can do a security testing. Okay, these are different types of testing that we can perform in the APIs. So what are the common API tests? We create something, read the data, check the response data object, the parameters that we are getting. So each parameter has the data that I gave. So when I created a user with name user3, in the response there should be user3. That is, we are validating. Advantages of API testing is it's effective than the GUI, because your GUI will take some time. Like if I click on a mobiles, it is taking 2 seconds to load. Now I'll add to cart. Okay, now I'll add some items to cart, and it will take again 2 seconds at least, because there is a waiting time. The page is loaded, but in the APIs, where is that loading time? If I send in a fraction of second, I got a response, user is created. If I'm creating order is also created in a fraction of time, right? Yes. Now GI factors are, this page is having what all details, images, videos. These videos are loaded, so it will take time, right? So your elements on the page will take some time to load. These elements are having like so many complex features. You have lot of information on a one page. Like if I click on a hard drives, it will open this all data. Now suddenly I change the criteria to search. Now all those data will be taken from the database, and you will get these all data loaded, displayed. So this each element on a page will take time. It's not about it's not about other things, but the page takes time. It's only about this interface takes time. Otherwise your APIs are working fast. Whatever your APIs are taking time, suppose 2 seconds, your UI will take more than 2 seconds, maybe 4 or 5. That is little more than the API. If your API itself is taking 1 minute, think about how slow your application will be. And if you are asking for some data, suppose I'm taking this televisions as a search query and I want to search, if the results are displayed very slow, will not be okay. Okay, so nobody will like that application. So API should be faster, and the response should be faster. So APIs will always have little faster functionality, because there are no elements to load, and we want application very faster. Everything we want fast. Okay, it should be developed fast, tested fast. When it is given to client, they should be able to also easy to understand, easy to use, and each response should be fast. Nobody has time to just wait for elements to load. So that is about a faster performance, like performance it is called as. And APIs are bit faster. Now in API testing, if I'm testing APIs, I'll take, suppose, 10 minutes to run 10,000 requests. Take it in this way. So suppose we are testing, so we will test all the APIs we have, uh, like this get, put, post, different methods. Okay, APIs, the sample APIs that we are using, these APIs all we are testing, and we have positive negative cases. Consider that we have 10,000 requests, because so many APIs will be there in a project, so we will have so many test cases, and we are testing. It will take 10,000 requests will take lesser time than the 10,000 UI test cases. And if I talk in terms of time, okay, some real time examples, if I run 10,000 requests from APIs, okay, it was 1,000. Let us add one more 10,000 requests. What it takes? It will not take more than 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, in 30 minutes you can complete this. But if you have 10,000 test cases that are from the UI, it will take 2-3 hours minimum. You cannot make it faster, because when your element is loaded, then only I'll click on this, right? In the UI testing, it's about clicking on a element. Now I want to search for a Samsung. After I search for a mobiles, obviously I have to wait for this Samsung to be loaded, but in the APIs I will directly give Samsung as a request in the request body. So we are not waiting for that elements to load. Obviously it will be much more faster, and UI will take maybe 200% or 500% time more. If we calculate what is the percentage of time more it takes, it will be more than 200-300 percentage. Able to understand what is, like, API testings are effective when compared to GUI testing because they are faster in performance, and we send everything in a request. So no need to wait for that element to be loaded and then clicked on and then we get a response. Okay, got it? Did I clarify?
Yes.
Okay, API testing helps to reduce testing cost also. How it will reduce the cost? Okay, now your UI is not developed, so you are testing early. Early testing means you are finding defects early. Yes, UI is not developed and we are testing APIs in the early stage. Early stage, right? Early stage of a project only we are testing APIs because there is no UI. Now if you are testing early, now suppose we have project of 12 months. If I find defects at 11th month, we have to fix them and we have to extend the project timelines. If I find defects in the first or second month of project started, then how easy it is to fix them and complete on time. If you are increasing timeline means you are increasing the cost directly. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that is, API testing helps to reduce the testing cost also. If we are testing anything early we have errors solved so that our project's cost is also saved. Okay, API testing, we can find minor bugs before UI testing. Okay, what we test in the API testing? Data accuracy, HTTP status, response code, errors, return, API, whatever it returns, the error also. Okay, now if I am testing no not found, okay, some I'll give a user ID which user doesn't exist. Okay, in this invalid. So what we are testing in this invalid? We are testing the response should contain some error message, right? So response should contain 404 and it should say also that user doesn't exist. Some response we expect. So that is called response errors also we will expect. Now what is authorization checks we will see. Your UI is available to anyone because whatever user will do it will be under control. Now you have access to the product Amazon you are using. Now if I am placing the order, I have to log in and place a order and that order is in the account of the user. But if I am placing order from the APIs and your APIs are available to anyone meaning is like end people, people without any password or anything, if it is available, people will place order without even paying the amount because they have APIs. They will directly hit, I will add some amount here in the create order. I'll add that I'm paying 5,000 and then I'll send the request. Anyone can hack your project if your projects are not secured. So that security is provided with this authorization. Authorization is, there are different types of authorization. So if we select basic authorization is with username and password. So APIs are not available to anyone. Now Amazon APIs we are not using. We are using these free APIs that are available for learning because they are freely available. We are using, we are able to get the response. But if I send a request to Amazon APIs, I may not get the response because I do not have this API key, which is authorization details. Authorization is mandatory if you are accessing the APIs. You have to have some username, password, or whatever is the type of authorization is provided to these APIs, you have to pass. Now we are getting the response without authorization details because these are free APIs that we are using for the learning. Okay.
So it means that when anybody will give us a project to test API, we'll give the
Hmm.
authorization details
Yes,
as
obviously we have to ask also. Yes, what is
well.
authorization? Okay. What is the type of authorization? There are basic authorization is with this username, password. There is a bearer token, one authorization. There will be only token which will be like around 32 characters or more than 30 characters, and it will only get, we will be only able to get the response with the token. We have to pass it. We have to ask what is the token. Okay, for the APIs. Now, where are the APIs? I'll show you practically for this Amazon application. Go to this network. Okay. In this now, I'll click on a electronics. Of authorizations, basic type is username, password. We have bearer token, auth 0, auth 1. There are authorizations. Nowadays, we have authorizations with OTP also. That is maybe auth 2, I think so. Okay, so there are different authorizations which is providing much more security to your application, right? So if you have a application which is bank application, or it may be corporate banking or a personal banking, so you will not be able to just log in with your password. You will get a OTP and then you will be able to log in. Nowadays for company also, when you log into your company account, then you will get a password. You will have to input a password, then OTP also. So that is authorization which is much more advanced nowadays. Those things, have you seen that? Yes, everybody uses
Yes,
net
but
banking, so we are
yes,
having those authorizations because of these advanced technologies. Previously there was only password authorization. Nowadays the mechanism of password is much more secured with the OTPs and other things. Okay, we will not worry more on technology, how they implement. Whatever is the authorization our project is using, we are just going to input it and test it. Okay, now what is API documentation? More on a API documentation we will learn. What is this? This is a API documentation. We know this is more on a API documentation. Everybody in your project you will get API documentation. With this only we will test. Okay, what it will have? It will have a description, what it does, what this API does. It is a get request, it is a single user not found, and this is a endpoint. If I click on, this is a response I get. List of resources, this is a get is the request and list of resources, and if I click on, this is the endpoint and we get an entire list of users. So each API has description, what it does. This is a small description about what the API does. Syntax is what are the parameters. See here we have syntax also. This is the response. Now if I have a post to create, now then we have body also. This is the syntax of body. Now I cannot miss any of the parameter. I have to give the parameters with this comma, with this double quotes. This is JSON body. This is a JavaScript object notation format. In this format only we have to pass, and we cannot skip any of the parameters. Now in this also there will be some mandatory and non-mandatory parameters. Okay, to create a user, name is mandatory, maybe job is not mandatory. For example, So in front of name, it will be given as a star. Okay, whatever is star marked is mandatory. Many applications you might have seen this, where we see star marking, which meaning which means is it's a mandatory to input. We cannot complete the registration without that field. In APIs also such fields are there which are mandatory. Now if I have name is a mandatory, job is not mandatory, but I can give null here, but I have to write this job equals to null. I cannot remove entirely job. You give job null because it is not mandatory, the value is not mandatory, but we have to give it in this. Okay, so I'll show how it is star marked. Any time you see star, here we are able to see the star. It means is it's mandatory. Like to input on this form, you have to give full name, you have to give business email, you have to give phone number. It is mandatory. Star marking is available. This country is not mandatory, it's optional. Now if we are testing with APIs, we will not remove country parameter. We may give null here. Okay, you can give null here. How we will give null? We will copy in the create user. This is a create user. Created response it is. I'll go to body. Okay, this is a body. Now in this you can give null, meaning is do not give anything, or else you write null. Okay, null is what? Nothing. Null is different, empty is different. Now if I give this, what is the difference between null and empty here?
Empty is double quote, nothing is written, and null you have written
Yes.
null.
Okay. Double quotes, there is no value. Still there is no value. There might be space or there might be no value, but it is different than null. So we have to test for both. What it returns the error code if there is no, if there is just a space, if there is just a null written. Okay, this is
Yeah.
negative testing that we will write. Now in this invalid test case for this create user, what we will write? We will write one test case with a null. Okay, this is not needed. Okay, and send a request. We get a response. It is taking null. Here we do not have any mandatory check, but in case it is there, I'm showing. Now I'll clone this. How to clone this request? We click on it and we have duplicate option. Invalid, I'll rename it to invalid and with job null. Okay, write it in a more systematic way where we will be able to understand invalid and job. Okay, create user invalid job null. So with this test case name only, I'll be able to find out, figure it out. Okay, here I'm passing job equals to null. I'll clone this again. In this I'll check for a job is empty. Okay, now in this what we will make body as a empty. Okay, which is nothing. Empty is different. Now I'll create one more invalid request duplicate, which is with special character. Job will not have a special character, just a special character I'll give. So job empty, no job is special characters. Okay, and send it. So different we can pass it. Okay, will this be a valid? Okay, it is allowing. They are allowing, it is fine. We should know what it respond. I'll give characters a long list of like characters which is maybe more than 100 characters. What it will give the response. Okay, it is taking that whatever we give. This API is solid, it is taking that. Fine. This should be next. Okay, special character is different and long text is a different. I'll duplicate this. I will rename as a job long text. So where we are finding out maximum length. Okay, somewhere it should stop. Okay, this is special character. So let us remove this all. Where we have in the body, we will remove. Okay, in the response, I'm trying to remove. This is all about the special character, right? It is taking special character also. Say. Able to understand what we write in this invalid also. Good. Long text I'll send. This is, there is no text that is copied. In the long text you can give character, number, anything. Okay, or you can give a paragraph, like entirely I'll give a paragraph from some document. Okay, what I'll do is, this is like what is API, this entire string I'll give. So we'll check that where it fails. Okay, it's like breaking the APIs. Somewhere it should fail. I'll give this entire string in this. Okay, now we have error. Okay, it is showing error. Now it is bad request. Your request is incorrect, it is saying. Okay, long text is any text you give. So API description is about what it does, functionality. API, the syntax is the parameters it takes, the sequence in which we have to pass function parameters, syntax, code, errors, everything is available in this API documentation. So for a create user, this is, now you have update user. So now I am updating user with some data. The updates will be performed. Your each request has enough details. What is the syntax? What is the use of it? Delete. Delete will delete a particular user. Register successful. Register successful will register that user. Register unsuccessful. If we give no, like what is register successful? It takes username and password. Now for a registration, if you do not give password, it will be unsuccessful. They gave everything how we are going to test. Okay, so what is principle of API design, like how APIs are designed? What is the setup, execution, verification, reporting? These all are the API principles to design. What are the tools that are used? Postman, Catalan, SOAP UI, some rest assure, karate. Okay, these are different APIs that are used. Okay. I'll only change on this. What we will do is, okay, so these are the different tools that are used for API testing. We are learning Postman because it is widely used, very simple and used most of the time. What are the challenges in the API testing? Categorizing the parameters. What parameters we have to pass? What is a valid input, invalid input? What is the combinations that we have to test? Is the challenge that we have to get, like understand in the API. Okay, now I'll create a registration. This one, register successful, create API and test cases for this. So what we will do, we will click on a endpoint, copy this. Okay, you can create a new collection. I'll create a new collection. Okay, what we will do in this, register user, in this we'll create a new request, add a request. A request is register new user. Okay, naming convention I follow in this format. You can also write tc01. Okay, tc1 underscore register user, so that, okay, and for register we need a request body. We know that register successful. Okay, go to body, raw, and we have to give JSON and send. So we get user created. No, not created. What is the response? 200. Okay, and the response should contain a token and this. ABC, and I'll give this. All users are shown in this. What is API is register successful, API register. Okay, endpoint is correct. Okay, this is the response for this API. That is, they have given, we are getting the same response, which is okay. That is the response for this API. Register unsuccessful, missing password. How we will create a test case for register unsuccessful? The same I'll copy, same I'll clone it, duplicate, and rename it to invalid. Okay, and in this body we will not pass a, okay, body did not copy. I have to copy this, and pass it here. Okay, and send this. There is a different, okay, here also we have, this is a response. Actually this is a response, so we will not get this response. Okay, these are not working. Login we will test. Login will have something better. Okay, let me test for a login, and this is a endpoint. Login also not working. No, these APIs are not working. For a create we have seen, for a create also it is showing all the users. Okay, so what is expected if we do not give the password? When we are creating user, expected is password missing. We will get that. So if we are testing a valid APIs, then the expected result will be, we will get. And if we are not getting that expected result, we will give that as a defect. So we are expecting a password error, but we are not getting that. Okay, yes, so this is about API testing. Any questions in this?
So we deliver the API tested report to whom?
To the lead management. Yes.
And then who corrects them?
Developer.
Okay, it will go to developer. Okay.
Yes.
I have one more question. So this API document will be provided like after the development stage or before they will give us everything?
Okay. This API documentation is prepared when they are developing these APIs. Before even they develop, they have this document. Because of this document only they are preparing that way. Okay. So documents, by looking at a documents only they will prepare. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
How they will develop now Amazon, how they will develop Amazon, they will get these UI screens. Like you have to have menus, these menus, okay, this search bar with this color, there is a search button, like this you have to show the card. This is given to developer, then they develop. Designers are different. UI designers are, they are proper UI designers, they only know designing skills, they don't know development coding, they are just designers. Now they will be like core designers, that they are called as UI UX team. Okay, they will develop user interface and user experience. The team, they will design the UI, they will focus on user experience and they will develop. Now APIs are developed, like API documentation will be done by the developers only. Okay. Now senior developer, he will develop or he will design the APIs. Okay. There is a dev manager. Consider that dev manager has entire architecture in his mind, that okay, I want these APIs. This will create user, this will create a order, this will delete a order, this will delete this will get the data, so that whatever will be calling from the UI, I'll send the response. Okay, then he will develop this document, he will write this document entirely. He will decide for what, for a create user what parameters are needed. Okay, for a update user what parameters are needed, and he will design this document and give to the junior developers or team under him. Now those developers will look at this document and they will develop the code like this only. Now when we are testing, we will also look at this document and test. Okay. So if your base is same, like everybody is developing and testing with the same documents, then it is good. Like we have same expectations.
Okay. Okay. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Priya, this website you have open reqres.in.
Hmm.
We can also use that and make.
Yes, you can also use. Yes, use it.
Okay, okay,
You can also use it for a API testing.
okay.
Null is not a string. Will it not cause a error? No, no, Sunita, it will not cause a error. Null is like it's nothing actually. Null means nothing in the database.
Okay, so it is like
Empty means,
acceptable in
it's
database.
acceptable. Yes.
Okay.
Now, yes, what is in the database concept is, suppose you are creating a user, or as a user, now I'm creating my account on this Orange HRM. Okay. And I gave the name, some name, okay, some business email, okay, test@test.com, and I gave phone number, okay, which is some number. Now I do not give anything in this, it will be stored as null. Now user has not given data in the database, it will be stored as null.
Okay.
Okay.
Automatically it will change into
Automatically it is null. Now when it is automatically null, it is fine, but in the APIs we can set it to null. Now I do not want to give a value, then I'll wantedly write null. Null means nothing. Nothing is nothing actually. Space is something, right? If you are passing just double quotes and you are passing space, space has some value. And empty is different. Empty meaning is, yes, at least you have like container, but there is no value in that.
nothing
Like
is
you
kept in
have,
the material. Yeah.
yeah, that variable has no value, no value. Like empty is different, null is different. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So in APIs we test both the things, null and empty. And null is different, empty is different. Many people will feel that null and empty is same. No, it's not same. Now, I do not want to give a phone number. I can skip it by providing space also. I can skip. Maybe, right? Because there is no error. Now there is no error for a phone number. If I do not give anything, it will give a error at this only. Now I do not give anything and submit. It will show up a error. Many applications will show error. So that is different. When we are like when we are placing order and you have some details, okay, so now you want to add any of these bags or something like that, then you place a order and do not give few of the details. Maybe you are not saving your cards, you are not making default payments or something. So whatever data you will not give, it will be null by default. Like it will allow you to create that order without making any issue on that. Okay.
It is a JavaScript object notation, you said.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Object. What is object? Object, we know. Okay. Object is something we have. This is the object. In the object, we have some parameters. I'll take simple example of user, and maybe user, whenever user is creating his account, he will give, like we will design our own APIs. Now I'm not taking any examples. We will see, like generally Amazon is there, and for that what we need user email, we need, okay, we need some more information. Okay. Now JavaScript object notation is, this is a parameter, first one is, then we have value for it. What value I'll pass, it is a value for it. Now if I have mobile, mobile is integer type, so it will not be in the double quotes. Okay. Comma. For example, we have address, colon. Now whatever is address, address is long text, I'll give 21. Okay. some some name we will give, and then ctvt, okay, something, okay. Some city or something is you have,
Here,
comma.
after mobile, there has to be colon, right?
Here, yes, it has to be colon and no double quotes. Yes, correct. After address, what more details we can have? Okay, city,
State.
I'll take. Suppose online delivery at a particular cities only, so we will maybe taking a particular city. Okay, what city you want to store? And we have city names.
Pune.
Okay, why Pune? You're from Pune?
Yeah, I like that city. I'm presently in Canada, but that's a good city.
You stayed in Pune?
No, we visited. There is one ashram there. I went there.
What
So
what you visited here? Like in this
there was
Pune?
one ashram.
Okay.
There was one religious, sort of thing there. There I went.
Okay, okay. Okay, no worries. Okay. Yeah. Even I like Pune. It's good city. Bangalore is also good. Hmm. Fine. City we have taken, and then we can take state, country. Okay. Because we can store user data. Now this is like user data. This is a data object. Okay. Suppose your address is like city is inside address. Okay. Inside a address, this address is one JSON object. Okay. So how it is like this? We had the similar list of resources. So this data is again having a object. Okay. So now address also I'll make again a object. In this we have city. Okay, I'll not take it outside because we will learn how to access the parameters, how to change the values, how to write it. Okay, I'll take inside so that we understand. Okay, I'll write city here. It makes sense, right? Having address and then you have values. Then you have after city, you may be having state. What a state will have, like we can keep string. Yes.
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 So what will be the values here?
Maharashtra.
Double quote. Yes. Mm, okay. Generally we store only like mh something. Okay, which will be enough. Then we have what more?
Pin code.
Yes. Correct. Pin code. Right. So your parameters are like see underscore is there. So I'll also add a underscore username underscore pin code underscore. This is a naming convention that is followed. Like 4110 something address I give pin code I give. This is what we have. Now I want to access any object which is a JSON. This is a request. This is a request. For example, consider it is a request. How we will be able to access? Request dot if I take address and then dot city, request dot address dot city, what is the value it will give me for this JSON?
Pune.
Pune. Everybody able to understand how we access this object data? With the dots, we know when we have object we can access with the dot operator. In Java also we know when we have object, so a class will contain methods and variables, and when we create an object we can access methods and variables with the dot operator, right? Object name dot this. We can also access request dot username. I'll give what it will give. Username is we do not have any username. I'll give Rupa. Okay, then it will give Rupa. Yes. Able to understand? Simple.
Yes.
Suppose we have request. Now how to create a JSON? This is how we create a JSON. If you have integer value, we do not give double quote. If it is a string value, we give double quote. Now each parameter is a string, but values of can be any type, text, then maybe numbers, okay, numerics and text that are different type can be there. Okay, you have response. Suppose this is a response. This is my response, and in the response also, when I'm creating user, the same details are there, and also user id is created. Okay, in the response what we have, user id. Now user id is number 110012, some unique id is created, okay, with all the data. And we also get created time. Okay, why we need created time? They will have that created time in the database to store, because we need to keep a track of when which user got created, updated, deleted, what is the transaction. We save time for history. Every projects will save that. It will be of specific format. I'll give the format. This is a date, month, and then there will be time also. 12, I'll give something. Okay, just consider this might be the time. What is the time format? We will see. Okay, this will be YYDD Okay, so hours is, what is the time now? 19, some 44, and some 20. Okay, this is the created time. It is stored in the database. Now I want to validate my request and response. In this response, how we will access response? Response dot, can I give this response dot username? What we will get?
Rupa.
Now response dot user id, we will get that user id 11199. Okay, now I want to validate, like I want to write a assertion script.
We have not created username parameter. Instead of, we have created user email. So it will still give Rupa.
No, correct. Actually, it's a user email. We have to write as it is. We cannot give anything whatever we want. It's as it is. We have to give parameters. Parameters are these are as it is. We have to give. No change. Even like underscore, everything as it is. Okay. Good.
And
Good
is it
catch.
case sensitive?
It is JSONs are. Let me check. Yes, it is case sensitive. SQL is not case sensitive. It's a case sensitive. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, give as it is exactly. Okay, now this response user email, I want to validate. How we want to validate? Like which I created user email. Okay, why we give only email like this? At the rate, I'll give at the rate test.com. Email should be in the email format. I give a email like this, suppose. Okay, in this we are validating. Now we have a request. Everybody understood that we have a request. Now whatever is the request, we have response for that. We have a request, some set of data we are requesting. This JSON object we are requesting. Now we have response. which is to create something. This is post method and it is create user. Okay, consider that create user it is. Now this is the request we are having. This is the response and this is the JSON of the request. Now when I created a user with this data, obviously in the response I will expect same data. Okay, this is the response we got.
Priya,
Okay, this is the response we are getting.
Priya, just wanted to know,
Hmm?
here you have entered mobile number in a request, but in
Hmm.
request we are not going to write anything, right? Only blank spaces, strings, or it will
Where?
like that. In request there is one mobile 000999.
Right.
In other place and pin code also, so nothing will be in request, right?
Where is nothing? In
May I,
different test cases?
no, I'm asking in request only
Hmm.
the parameters or like user email,
Hmm.
colon, nothing. But in like mobile, you have written something, so we should
Hmm.
remove that part. Or
Yeah,
should
in the
I,
negative case.
means,
In the negative case, you are asking?
no. I'm asking why
Huh?
we have written mobile number as 4 times 0, 4 times 9. Should we leave it blank?
Okay, now I want to give some user mobile number, right? When I'm registering, some values I want to give.
Yeah.
Some numbers I give just. Okay. You can give, like if you do not give anything, that is your another test case. This is one request. You can have another test case.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let me complete. Maybe I'm not able to understand your question, but we will try to answer or get that. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Now we have this is a request, this is a response. Now, whenever I'm creating, okay, now I'm writing a code where I'm writing a code assertion. Like what I'll check for this object request and response. Okay, actually we should have request this place. Okay, and this response here. Now we will check this equals to. Okay, this email should be equals to response email because whatever I gave it should be same. Now if I am writing a script assertion, I will check for request.username equals to response.username. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that the values are correct, we are able to get that. Now for a request user id I'll check with response. User id is not there, so for this response user id I'll check it is not null. Okay, not null condition I'll check. There should be response id. Validations we are writing. What is this validations? Now I sent a request, we have a response, but now I'm talking about automation. Okay, automation of this API. Now the conditions we write, we keep those conditions and we will just run. If conditions are true, then it will be pass. If conditions are not matching, then it will be fail. Now for this automation, that conditions to be verified. In manual testing we will manually verify, okay, this API has this request username, so is it the same? Okay, where we have username here, okay, the address is this, then address is the same, pin code is this, and the pin code is same or not. These all details we check in the manual testing manually. Okay, we compare. How we compare? We compare when you do a manual testing of APIs, use this JSON formatter. What it do? Whatever your response is, sometimes you get a response, single user response. This is your response. Okay, response is in this format. Now we have to validate this, copy and paste it in this JSON formatter. JSON formatter you get, and if you format it, what it will do? It will give you in the JSON format. Now this is easy to understand. This is that not that easy to understand. Okay. This
Yes.
JSON formatter we can see, and now you can compare also. Now you have two requests. One is a request and one is a response. Consider, okay. I'm just considering we have two these values. We have JSON compare also. Like in the manual testing, we can compare also with this JSON diff. What it will do? You paste two, like request and response both in both of this. One here and one here. Here request, here response, and you can validate. Okay. Now consider this is our request. This is a response, and we are comparing. Now see in the comparison, it shows here two are semantically identical. Both are same. So if it is same, that is what we wanted to check. Now many times what happens is we have response format here given in the documentation. Now for a create, this should be the format. This format I want perform a new diff, and I'll perform a new diff, and now I compare. Both are different, right? It will give what is the difference, what is the difference. Now if I call this API and I got a similar response but different values, consider that case also. In case of different, it will, we can check also, it will be ABC, and this is something, and ID is 44. Now compare. I found three differences, unequal values you have. Okay, we are able to see perform a new diff. Now what is the difference? It highlighted also, this is a difference. Then what is the next difference? If you again click on a next, one by one it is showing. Okay, what is the difference? We are able to see what is the difference. Fine. Use these JSON formatters, that will help because it's not that easy, or we always use this JSON. By the time you get familiar, you can use these tools like formatter to format it. It can be used always. Even I use always this JSON formatter to format it. And this is now in this request response, your object has different parameters. Data, inside data we have ID. Now this is a response, so response dot data dot ID I have to pass to compare in the automation. Okay, how we compare? This is how we compare. So JSON is object, JSON object is JavaScript object, so that's why we are writing dot operator. Okay, this is how we validate. In manual testing, we validate manually with the JSON formatter. Yes, clear?
Yeah, I have one doubt. So uh, when we do the request, is there any ID or something that will be auto-generated in the response? Uh,
Yes.
is it possible to happen like that?
Yes, because when a request is sent, what happens? It goes to database and it will create that user, where that user is stored. Whenever request is sent, it goes to database, obviously. See, in the diagram, we know that APIs are hit, APIs are in the business layer. Now from the APIs, request will go to database, user is created. When next time that user tries to access your application, if that user account exists, then only you will be able to log in, or your account is created, then only you can access your account, and in your account you will have your own transactions like history, details, the orders you placed. It is not going to mix with another account. The data is stored in database. From that it will come. Okay.
Okay. See, if, for example, if we have in the request, we have a user email ID, password, and city name. But in the
Mhm.
response, we got ID, username, I means email ID, and then city and password. So the
Hmm.
ID was newly generated. So is possible like that? They may create like that, or it has to be like if the request has particular entities, then that entities should be there in the response. There should not be any extra entity.
Okay, there will be extra entities for sure. Request in and response, how can it be same exactly? You will have some more parameters, some less. Now, if you are creating a user, maybe user is created and you get only response that address is not there in the uh, response. Your API design is completely on your developers. Okay,
Okay.
they have user
Okay.
ID, use email, and created time. I just do not want everything in the response because I stored in the database. Let it be in the database. I'll not give in the response. For user ID, this is the email, and at this time I created. Just that they design. It's up to developers how they want to design. It's all depends on the logic use. Like if they are using this email somewhere, then they will give this. If they are using address in some other request after this API, they will send in the response. It all depends on the design. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
If
Yeah. I
address is
understand.
object, okay, how we are deciding this address is object or it should be simple parameter? No, we will not decide. Developers will decide. I took just an example. Okay, because APIs are not freely available for us for any project. We have to just assume that okay, this might be the case. And with that, I created some request. It is ideally it will be there. Ideally, there will be object inside object, and we have to use like this request dot address dot city. Just focus on how we write assertion, how we understand whatever is the JSON. Whatever is the JSON, we will pass in the JSON formatter and see what is the JSON, how we compare, what it does, what it stores, values, okay, what is the use, what is the purpose, what we need to test, positive, negative. Those are the point of areas we will more think on. Okay. We can't
Okay.
change
Okay.
this format every time, like never. We are not allowed to change anything. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good. Any questions again? Okay.
Priya, I have read somewhere in a difference between JSON and XML that JSON does not provide any support for name spaces. What is name spaces?
Okay. Namespaces. Yes. Namespaces were in C++. Okay. Namespaces is outside a object. You give one more namespace. Now you have namespace. Consider that. You have this as a user object. Okay. This is a user object where you have user email and something you add one more layer outside this, which is namespace.
Can we say that
Namespace.
namespace is like a package in Java?
Yes, outside again you create one more layer. Yeah, package in Java. In C++ there was namespace. Now in this namespace you have ABC. Now user you can create again in that, you can use user object. Now once you have user object, you cannot use user object again, like same, you have to give a new name. Now if you have namespace, then under one project you can have multiple namespaces. In under one namespace you can have every object as a unique. Okay, now I want to use user, I'll create this as a one more namespace. This as a, I'll take test namespace, and here also I have user object with same parameters. Yes, you can consider something like package. So using namespaces in C++.
Okay.
So that is not allowed, like object we cannot, we never saw like this, right? So I can make uniquely on a page by creating a namespace because I want to use same as a user. That is not there, and which is okay. Yeah. So a declarative region that provides a scope to identifiers variables. Now in this namespace only this user is available. Other outside other namespaces, that objects are not available. So that is a declarative region that provides a scope. Technically it's not easy to understand, like declarative region. Oh my god.
Yes, that's why I asked. It's something beyond my head.
Yeah. Hmm. It was there. Like I remember I studied this namespace in the college time or some time, but I wanted to make sure. Yeah. It's not there. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, fine. JSON objects are there. Fine. Any questions? No? We'll see XML. Okay. And then we'll stop for the day. XML is very simple. What is XML? Can we have XML? XML is extensible markup language. You might have heard extensible markup language.
Just name. I don't know
Just
anything inside. Just name.
okay. So we will see XML. It is a extensible markup language. When we say markup language, any markup language meaning is it will have tags. Tags are represented in this less than greater than bracket. A tag, HTML is a, what is HTML? Can we have some answers?
Markup language.
Hypertext markup language.
Markup language it is. So it has a tags. We know A tag is for links. HTML tag is to create a page. Like you have tags. Now this XML, extensible markup language, is a again tag based. Markup means tag based. Now these tags you can create. Now this XML is user defined tags you can create. Like I can define my own tags. I want to store a username. So I'll create a tag with username. Okay. And I'll store username here. And I'll close the tag. What is a tag name? Username. So I have to close it with same name. This was the tag name. Exactly you have to give just a slash you have to add and close. Same I'll create the object that we saw, JSON. User email I'll give. Okay. Now how to store user email? In this opening tag and closing tag, in between you have to pass the data. Closing tag is same as the tag. Okay, this is your user email. Now what is the email you want to take? Okay, it was rupa@test.com. This is tags. So these are user defined tags in this extensible markup language, you can define your own tags. Okay. Now address is a tag. You can store address value and address tag will close. But you want to store again inside address, you want different tags, and the tags will close inside this address only. So city will be started and closed inside this address. Now it is inside address. Able to understand this difference? Now all these different objects are different. Now the city started and closing. Here we will give name like location city Pune. I'll start a one more tag which is maybe state. Okay. And I'll store value. You can store any value. Close the tag. Able to understand? The tags are, so whatever the tag you start, you have to close in the same, and it's a chronological order. So address will contain city and state, so you have to close address tag after city and close this tag. I cannot close this city tag after address, it will give error, it's not a valid XML. Okay. Now where we have to close, you have to close before this address because it is inside address. That order we have to maintain. Like what is a root? Root is address. So city will be inside. Now consider that this is your entire user. Now this should close here. User should close at the end. And entire username, user email, address is inside this user. Okay. Fine.
So both are passing same information. The method of writing is
Yes,
different.
is different. Yes. So XML and JSON both are used in the data transfer. Now the data is transferred. What is the data? User object. That is passed using the XML. So XML is this format. And if it is a JSON, JSON we will write in this format. Now in API testing, people will use both. Okay. So
Which
what
one
are
is
the examples
the
of
practice?
XML languages? Yes, any questions?
Yes, just I wanted to, if you can copy paste this part to chat only. That's it.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to know that which one is the best for the practice, like XML or JSON.
JSON is much easier. JSON is used in like more frequently, and you can practice more on a JSON. But XML you should know. Okay, and if you are working for a SOAP APIs, JSON will be like not used. XML will be used majorly. There are different APIs. Okay, types of APIs are there. We will see tomorrow that one. And this XML is this format, and this XML format of data is highly secure, and JSON is less secure and faster to develop, but it's more secure. So depends on which project needs more security, they will use, but it's little complex to write. But JSON is very easy to write, easy to develop, people will use JSON, and easy to scale. Okay. There are some benefits with that JSON, and JSON is used widely. Now this XML is, remember guys, everyone in the Eclipse pom.xml file, able to
Yeah,
relate something to
dependencies.
this XML file?
Yeah, dependencies.
Yes,
Yeah.
dependency there. We have put in
Dependencies,
tags.
how we have values, here we give versions, here give the name. So that is XML only. Now this time when you see pom.xml, you will understand more. So that is the XML document. XML documents will be always in this tags. In the XML, how we write a comment, less than 3 times dash is the comment starting. Then again we write dash dash and close, right? So we know Selenium Maven dependency. If I check that, okay, I'll
There
show
is one
here.
exclamation mark as well.
Yes, there is one exclamation mark also. We always copy. That's why I forgot actually. Yes, this is how the comments we write. And see, this dependency is a tag. And inside this dependency, there is a group ID. And the value is always this one we have to take. Now, group ID is closed here. We have artifact ID. Artifact ID is closed here. Version. We have then, it's a closed here. Then dependency tag is closed. Chronological order it is. This order we have to maintain. Okay, this is form.xml. This is the tag. Okay, good. So what different XMLs we have, like languages, XML languages? We have mostly used HTML. XHTML is also there. MathML is there. Okay, we don't use much, but this XML comes in our Selenium code also, form.xml file. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I have one doubt in JSON. Could you please just scroll
Hmm.
up?
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, tell me.
okay. Could you please scroll up the JSON code? Show the JSON code. I have doubt on that.
Hmm.
So,
Just a minute, guys. Just a minute. I need to. Okay. Yeah. So, yes. What is your question?
my question regarding to the JSON code, could you please show that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Jason.
So, yeah, as we have checked that the date format is YY, and DD. And suppose
Huh.
we have passed like this in different format, so it will throw an error or it will update it as it is, like
Okay,
created.
it will throw error. I just took example. Uh, Formats can be of any. So now your format is DD, MM, YYY, and then you have hours and minutes and some things like that. This time format will work. Now if the format is this YY and MM and DD, or YYY DD MM, if we have different like this. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, okay, just a minute, guys. Why my phone is not silent? Okay, fine. Yeah. So these formats are there, then it may not work. Okay, for these two formats. Now, if that rule is there, I have to follow that rule, and then I have to pass the data. I correct. You are correct. Okay. There are different formats. Now, more than this, also there might be formats. Okay.
Okay.
There might be another formats we see only year 23 they write. Okay, YYMMDD. This also is the format MMDDYY. Only year is represented in 2 digits. That is also the format. Then this will not work. We have to give this. You can give as per the format. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Thank
Did
you.
I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. Yes. So XML is this. Now can you create one XML? Okay. XML and one JSON also. XML and JSON. I'll give only the parameters you have to type. Okay. It is order. When we place a order, the parameters will be there. So order is my root and it will have a order item. Okay. And order item will have some value. What are the values? Order item id I'll take. Okay. Order item only I'll take. I'll simplify. I'll not complicate. Order cost. Each order will have a cost. Yes, order item, I'll take count. Okay, we will not worry about it. There are two items, correct? For example, cost is some $200. Then what more details we need to place a order? Cost, payment type, like you paid, you already pay and then you make a order, right? Payment type is, consider that debit card. Okay, there was a debit card payment and payment status is done. Okay, status is string value done pending, like this you have. Can you create? Yes, just think and create. You create a XML also, you create a JSON. First create JSON. Take the same format, same values. You have to just write order